Hello, Tim from Fairplay now on the 28th of August 2023. So, as I said in yesterday's video, I went to my local stand in the park and I went along with some guys and girls who were leafleting about the importance of cash, and we were getting a good response. And there's plenty of awake people, I tell you now, sort of wandering around sort of town centres of a Sunday morning, and every other time as well, I should think. But I was talking to this one guy and we had an interesting conversation. He's just an ordinary sort of member of the public, nothing to do with us or the stand in the park or anything like that. And he was saying that until recently he worked for CCAM, which, if you don't know, that's the ambulance service in the southeast. So it's called CCAM, Southeast Ambulance. I don't know where they get the C from, but that's what it's called. And he worked in the call centre, you know, when you dial 999 and you want help from them. And what he was saying, because he was there during the height of the lurgy, etc., and he was saying it was bizarre because there was absolutely, in the call centre, there was absolutely no lurgy restrictions at all during the height of it, sort of 2020, 2021, and people from the front line, you know, sort of ambulance drivers, I suppose, and paramedics would be coming in and out of this place, coming into the call centre guys, and yet none of them had to wear muzzles, none of them had to socially distance or anything like that. And he was saying it was only about this time last year or summer of 2022 when they started getting a little bit anal about everything, and you know, literally one person would cough during, just one little cough during their whole, I don't know, 10-12 hour shift, and then they'd sort of be told that, oh, you've got to go home and self-isolate for however long it was, 7 days, 10 days, and this was last year when all the restrictions everywhere else were sort of ramping down. So it was absolutely ridiculous. So that was a very interesting conversation, because when it didn't really matter was when they started getting fussy, but during the supposed height of everything, they didn't care at all. You could sort of, as a paramedic, just handling patients all day long who may or may not have had things, you could then just wander in and start talking to all of the call centre staff with no restrictions whatsoever. So that's what this guy was saying, and I thought it was very, very interesting. He's now left the service, he was saying to me, because he just couldn't stand some of the things that were going on, some of the decisions that were being made. And I said, well, what's an example of this sort of thing? And he said, well, people who are trying to commit suicide basically have just taken several packets of ibuprofen and paracetamol, and were in sort of serious danger, obviously, of dying. Well, they weren't getting priority sort of care at all. They were just sort of saying, I'll just treat them like everybody else, tell them there's a 2-hour wait. And he was saying, really? When this person's had this massive overdose, taken this massive overdose? And it was things like that that was doing this bloke's head in, and why he decided to leave. So yeah, we got some very, very interesting sort of things from him. And it just shows here there's a lot of people out there who kind of suspect and know that there's some very funny things going on, and they're not happy about it. And like I say, I didn't really have to try very hard to find this guy. Just one example, he almost came up to us, really, saw the placards about the cash and everything, and he was saying how he agrees with that, and then he just opened up about these other things that I've just told you about. So very interesting, don't you think? So just going to spend the rest of this video welcoming new subscribers and viewers to this channel. I seem to, just over the course of the weekend, have gained about 300 new subscribers. I think it's mostly thanks to the John O'Looney interview, and what a fabulous guy he is. I can tell you, because you chat to people, interviews like this, before and afterwards, the actual interview, just have a little bit of a chat, and he is exactly as he appears on the interviews that you see him on. He's a very down-to-earth, genuine guy, and he's, well, what you see is exactly how he is in real life. I can attest to that, and I've got to thank John for letting me interview him, and it was an absolute pleasure. And I'm hoping to do another one probably in a month or two's time, maybe October. I'd say was probably a good time, so I'm in touch with them, obviously, so watch this space. But if you're new around here, warm welcome to the channel. And who am I? Who am I? This fair play now bloke. Well, I'm a little bit like John in that I'm just an ordinary guy. I'm an electrician, and every day I'm out there, sort of putting in these sockets and changing lights and fault finding and all the other things that electricians do. And I would have just happily carried on doing that, just like John O'Looney would have happily just carried on with his funeral business, had it not been for the stuff that started happening 3.5 years ago, and had it not been for a lot of suspicions being raised in my mind. And I got to the point pretty much exactly this time 3 years ago where I thought, what, I've just got to start speaking out. So I set this channel up here on this platform, and basically did that. And my videos tend to fall into 3 categories. It's either me just sitting here, either in this vehicle or inside my house, and just talking to camera about the latest things that I'm seeing and feeling, and sometimes have rants and things like that, or sometimes I just talk matter-of-factly to the camera, observations and all of that. The second thing is, if I come across an interesting thing online, video, article or whatever, I'll recommend it to you, or an interesting website. So there's a little bit of recommendation going on there. And thirdly, a bit of what you might call citizen journalism. I like to think I'm a fledgling one. I'm not sort of fantastic at it because it's not my trade. As I say, I'm an electrician, but because no one else at the time was reporting on things, I thought, well, you know what, someone's got to step up to it. So I just started going out there and reporting on things. So I've attended many of the big London shopping trips, as I call them. I have to use these funny little code words, like the lurgy for, well, the thing that's been around for the last 3.5 years, supposedly. And so I can't even say the thing that goes in there. I'm just going to point there and you'll know what that is. So I come out with these code words, but I've reported on the London shopping trips. I report on other events going on. In fact, I've got one of those coming up this weekend, the Uprise and Shine event. I'll talk more about that during the course of the week, but it's happening in East Sussex, Friday to Sunday. So if you want to get together with some like-minded people, I can highly recommend that, but I'll more on that a bit later on in the week. And other events, I go along and film talks for people and report on things. I do interviews as well, like the one with John O'Looney, and I do it over the internet like his one, or I kind of do it in person if I just sort of see someone in the street, like the guy I interviewed yesterday in Crawley Town Centre, the campaigner there for cash. I don't mind who I interview. If it's someone passionate about the freedom movement and the cause of freedom, I'll interview them. I don't really mind if they're sort of well known like John, or relatively less well known like this other guy. I'll just interview them all the same if they want to be interviewed. So that's kind of an overview of the channel. It's, you'll get a bit of me just speaking to camera. You'll get a few recommendations, and you'll get some interviews, some recordings that I've done of talks and presentations and things like that. Many of which, or all of which really, are very, very interesting. So more of it to come. So stick around. And a very warm welcome to the channel. And if you've been watching me for a while, well, you guys know how much I appreciate your support, and I think you are fantastic. You guys have helped me out as much as you tell me that I've helped you out over the last 2 or 3 years. So it's really, really greatly appreciated. So I'm going to leave it there for today. Back soon. Tim from Fair Play Now. Thanks for watching.